already have this Eclipse over here. I've just downloaded and unzip it, and I've just double clicking on eclipse.exe. All the programs that we are going to practice in Eclipse now are also available over here. If else, while, do while, factorial, for loop, matrix, and so on. Eclipse is starting. Okay, so it will start ask for a workspace. You can give any workspace wherever you want to store all your projects, and just click on launch. Then I already have all my projects on left hand side. Just right click over here on the left hand side, click on new, click on project, and just give some name to the project. Let's say I give temporary 19/02/23 today's date. So this is my new project that is created over here, temporary 19/02/23. Similarly, I also have all my old projects over here. So there is a source over here. Just right click over here, again say new, and you have to say new object. Why it is not showing new object? Go on others. Okay. For you, since I have changed some setting for you, once you right click over here, you do new over here, you can see the object over here only. For me, I cannot see the object over here. I will go inside others, and I will select the Scala object. So I want a Scala object, and I want to give some name. So what name I will give? I will give the name as, I will open the first program. Okay, preview is not available, asking me to download. So this is my first program, and I will give the name as if else example, and I will just copy this code from Google Drive. So in Eclipse, I will give the example as name as if else example. So I'm giving the name as if else example, and I click on finish. And I directly get this object if else example. I can write code inside it. I just copy it from there. Okay, so just make sure that the name is same, if else example and if else example. Okay, so let's try to understand everything from here. We are defining a main function. If I want to pass any arguments to it, we can pass the argument. Def means I am defining some function, and whatever is the code, it will be always inside the main function that will get executed. So what I'm doing over here is, let's see where this one, else, let's make it like this. Okay, so what this is doing, first I'm defining a variable x. So okay, what is x? X is an object. Is it a variable or a value? Is it a variable or a value?
Variable.
Variable, right? And what we are assigning 3. So is it an integer, float, character, string? What is it?
Integer.
Integer.
Okay. So id will also just keep the pointer over here. It will give you intex.int. If you are using instead of Eclipse, you can use IntelliJ. IntelliJ is more even better. It will automatically write something like this int. Okay. So if x is less than 3, what it will do, it will go over here and say that the value of x is less than 3. Else it will go over here, the value of x is greater than 3. So this is about it. Let's try to execute it. Okay, so what is the value of x? 3. So will it go inside here or here?
Else.
Else, right? Because it is only less than 3. So it will say that it is either greater or equal to 3. So just right click over here and there will be option run as Scala application, and do OK. So either you can right click and run or just click over here. This will also run. So value of x is greater than or equal to 3. Any doubts in this?
So, Harish, can you just explain that object and def main thing? The starting 2 lines.
Okay. Okay. It is something similar to Java, wherein in Java you, instead of defining an object, you define something called as a class. In case of Scala, everything is an object. So the starting point will be always the object name. Everything you define, everything is an object. This is object, this is object. Println is also object. Everything is an object. Even the functions are object. Everything is an object. So what we are seeing, that if else is nothing but an object. And this is the starting bracket and ending bracket for this object. Then we are defining a main function. So whatever program that start, the starting point is always the main. So the starting point is always the main. To define a function, you always need to write def. So whenever you want to define a function, you need to write a def. Return type is not mandatory. It will automatically understand the return type. If you remember, in case of Java, if you worked on Java, you used to define something like this: public, static, void, main, something like this. And then you used to specify what are the arguments, something like this: array of string, whatever. So you used to define public, static, void, main. Over here, the same thing. You are defining the main and argument. Same thing as Java. You are defining the same thing. Now you don't have to define this void, because Scala automatically understand. Is it returning anything? Nothing returning, so means it will be void. So no need to define. Static also no need to define. It automatically understand. Public also no need to define. Nothing need to define. So it is a shorter form of a Java, wherein you just have to say that it is a function. Def is a function. So define a main function, wherein it will be a starting point, and we start writing the code from here. Is it clear? Any doubts in this?
No.
Okay. If no doubts, then we'll go to the second program. So all the programs are over here. I will just copy the other programs. So all the programs are over here. Okay. So okay, let's go to the next program. If else example 2. This is my second example. I'll just copy. Right click. If you right click over here, it is more better, so that it will directly go over here. Object should be visible to you over here only, but I will go inside others. Scala object. The name is if else example 2. Give the correct name, give the same name, finish, and just copy paste the code if else example 2. Okay, so main is the starting point. Okay, okay. I've made the mistake. Instead of X, it should be marks.
गधी हो ना तुम दिमाग थोड़ी है
If you are not on mute, please mute yourself. Okay, so what is that doing? First, we are saying that marks is equal to 15. So is it a variable or a value now?
variable
Okay, so marks 75. So if the marks is greater than equal to 70, it will print as a distinction. Else, if the marks is between 60 and 70, it will say as a first class. Else, if it is between 50 and 60, it will say as a second class. Else, if it is 40 and 50, it will say pass class. Else, it will say fail. So what is it? 75. So what will it print?
distinction
Distinction, right?
yeah
So you can also run it from here, or you can also right click and run it. So I want to run only if else example 2. So it says a distinction. Is it clear? Any doubts in this?
it's clear Harish
No doubt.
Okay. So these are the few programs, 2 programs that we practiced. Tomorrow we'll see more programs. So that is it for today. If any doubts, let me know. If you haven't installed Eclipse or haven't installed REPL, follow this video and install it. So that's it. We'll end the session for the day. Thank you. See you tomorrow at the same time, 10 o'clock
Thank,
Singapore time.
thank
thanks
you.
Harish
Thanks,
bye
Harish.